You are a spiritual being in physical form, a dichotomy of light and dark, where energy equals mass on a journey designed to fulfill our personal legend and purpose, to use humanity throughout, to amplify and transcend, slay the ego, raise the humanity. That's the signpost up ahead. Your next stop, the High Vibe Zone. Hey, LinkedIn, YouTube, what is going on? How is this moment for you in this moment? I don't want to ask how you're doing it. I feel a certain way about that question, but how is this moment in this moment? Welcome. I'm Sharice Fonts, and you are in the High Vibe Zone. And we're going to be talking about books today, books of life, essentially. But if you are joining us on YouTube or LinkedIn, go ahead and share your name, where you're joining from, where is your geographical location, and talk to me about your gratitude. What are you feeling right now in terms of gratefulness? Like, where is your gratitude at right now? I can tell you I am grateful for bits of quiet and peace in the mornings. It's a little rambunctious with all of the kids getting ready for school. And so anytime I get a moment of quietness, and I'm spending that moment with y'all, which is great. It feels good. Good morning. I feel okay. Luckily, I'm supposed to be in a meeting right now, but they haven't started it yet. So grateful that you can tune. Oh, I love that. I am grateful that you're tuning in. And if you have to get on your meeting, you can watch the recording. And you from my neck of the woods. We're about 20 minutes away. Oakland. I love Oakland. There's so much in Oakland. So thank you for joining me from Oakland up here in the High Vibe Zone. Alive and awake. Yes. Take that breath in. That's such a beautiful, beautiful thing to know that you are alive and awake and you are here. Well, I want to talk a little bit about a quote that I've shared already on LinkedIn, but it stuck out to me after I did my run and did my meditation. I was listening to just some inspiration, and this quote stood out to me, and it says, "What you want wants you, is on the way and will arrive in time." And I think that is such a beautiful quote to breathe in and just own, especially as you're going through your day-to-day, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you are you're an employee, whether you might be trying to start your own business. Doesn't really matter. The things that you want you. They are looking for you as well. And it is a matter of tuning you into the right vibrational frequency, which maybe I'll do a live on that, because I do talk a lot about that high vibe and what does that mean. And some people might get it confused, but everything is energy and everything carries a frequency. And so when I speak in those words, it's really using science and also some spirituality to fuse it together. It's really kind of cool. But I like that quote. So what do you want? Because what you want is looking for you right now. And if you don't have what you want, what would be the cause or the root to why you don't have what you want? I made a few more notes from the talk that I was listening to. And towards the end, it really, I mean, I don't even know if I want to get into this because I'm still digesting. I'll save it for another high vibe. But what you want is looking for you right now in this moment. So it exists. So what is the separateness that is being caused? What is the cause of you and what it is that you want? Because it's there. It's ask and you shall receive. So anyway, that's just something to chew on. But I have my tea. So this is a little too hot to sip right now. I'll sip a little bit later. This is a ginger turmeric tea from Trader Joe's, one of my favorite teas to have. And doulas love having teas. And I know when the midwife used to come to the house, this is one of the teas that she would always have. So it's a very special tea to me. So if you are sipping on a coffee, a tea, a latte, whatever it is, what are you sipping on right now? Water, also have that too. I don't know. Drop it in the comments. Inspire through sips. But we're gonna jump into books of life, and I decided to do a live around books that I've personally read and that have changed my life in major ways. And so my hope is that there is a book that stands out to you. All the books that I share will be linked in the comments a little bit later for you to go look by. I'm not promoting any one book. It's just these are just the books that I've read and that have really transformed my life. So let's jump into it. And if you have any questions about any specific books, just let me know. But again, if you're in the comments, you're out there in LinkedIn world, YouTube world, just go ahead and let me know that you're here so I can say hello to you. Sometimes it's hard not to see other humans. I'm kind of just like talking into, but let me know that you're here. Okay, this first book, y'all, I don't even know how to introduce this book, but I will tell you that my husband told me about this book a long time ago, and I've read it probably 8 times. And each time I have read it, my life has changed in unmeasurable ways. Like I could not explain to you the transformation that's happened. And this book is called The Motivational Manifesto by Brendon Burchard. And it's 9 declarations to claim your personal power. And as you can see, I have little tabs. I got sticky notes. If you open up the book, I got underlines and highlights and all this stuff. And I can remember when I first read this book, it made some sense to me, but it didn't make a lot of sense to me. I was like, okay, I got it. It felt good, but I just wasn't in a place to receive some of these messages. And there is a chapter in this book called Freedom. Or no, I'm looking at the word freedom. It's called Fear. And it talks about how fear keeps us from the things that we want the most. And fear is actually useless in our modern day society, unless you're being chased by a deranged human, not you, not me, or a lion, or, some type of animal predator, not you, not me. But fear really plays no part in our day-to-day lives, yet we yield to fear in so many ways. I have a fear of speaking. I have a fear of this, and it manifests in different phobias and different things like that. And this chapter on fear really breaks down the origins of fear for us, along with other areas in these 9 specifics. So if I were to go to the table of contents, Brendon talks about on human nature, and he talks around freedom, fear, and motivation, those 3 core things, which are really awesome. Then he goes into the 9 declarations. So if any of these stand out to you, you want to read this book, y'all. You want to get this book. It's phenomenal. So we shall meet life with full presence and power. We shall reclaim our agenda. That one was really good. We shall defeat our demons. That is a whole, maybe I can do 9 declarations in the high vibe zone. Let's see what y'all think about this. But we shall advance and abandon. We shall practice joy and gratitude, which we do here in the high vibe zone, which is awesome. We shall not break integrity. That's a big one. We shall amplify love. We shall inspire greatness. We shall slow down time. I don't know if y'all know this, but you can actually slow time down in so many ways. But this book, again, Motivational Manifesto, will change your life. I will say that I will say that you might need to be in a position where you're ready for things to change, and the answers will come from some of the readings in this book. And in fact, I was just nudged. I'm like, I want to pick this book up again because I feel I'm going through another transition in life. So Motivational Manifesto is added to the book of life in books of life in my book. All right. This next book, if you've ever been in a workshop with me, you've heard me reference this book multiple times. So leaders, this one is for you and for anyone without a leadership title that are leaders, and for anyone that admires leaders. This is actually for any human. I'm just kind of labeling some things off. You want to get this book. This book is called The Leader Phrase Book. Now, y'all might have seen me reference it or talk about it, but I do talk a lot about it in the workshops. And even as I'm working with client partners, I really encourage this book. What this book is essentially a list of phrases that leaders can use. And they show sort of the dichotomy between what sounds good and what doesn't necessarily feel good when you say it. For example, how to express urgency. You could say, step on it, which I wouldn't recommend. Or you can say, this isn't the time to be working on X, Y, and Z, be sarcastic. Or you can say, please understand the urgency. I need your help right now. We can get this done if we focus and stay on track on time. So if you're a leader that doesn't really know the right words to say, or you fumble over your words, this book is a great practice for phrases that you can use to not only motivate, but bring your people along and bring people along in the journey that you're asking them to be on. I highly recommend this book. It goes through a lot of different things. It even talks about how to agree and how to disagree, which I think is a really great tool to have nowadays, given that there are differences of opinions, and that's okay. How to refocus a conversation, how to propose an action or solution, how to postpone a decision. Sometimes leaders aren't really great at making decisions, and you need some space to be able to think or go seek counsel for your decisions. How to unite people. This book is amazing. So, book of life in regards to leadership, but also can be used in your day-to-day. So, leader phrase book, y'all. And it's by Patrick Allen. All right, I got a few more for y'all, so hopefully y'all enjoying this. This book, I remember seeing this book and being like, I just like the way that it looks. And then I started to read it and I was like, okay, this book is definitely for me. You know, books choose you. You don't choose the book, right? That's kind of a whole thing. But this book is called Good Vibes, Good Life. And in between the words, it's good, or how self-love is the key to unlocking your greatness. And if you've heard me say this before or not, but you can't give what you don't have. And one of the examples that I recently heard was, and this might be interactive. I don't know how many people are watching, but imagine that I have an orange right now. And if I were to squeeze this orange as hard as I could, what would come out of the orange? What do y'all think? If you said orange juice, you're right. Why? This is not a trick question. These are very simple. Why is that? Well, the answer is because of what's inside. That's basically what the answer is. I'm going somewhere with this. So when we think about ourselves, we can, and the way that nature is and the way that everything has worked, whatever you squeeze will come out of it. So whatever pressures or whatever things happen to you in life, whenever you're squeezed, whatever is inside of you comes out of you. So if you're squeezed and hate comes out or unkindness comes out or anger comes out, that's what's inside of you in so many different ways. But if you're squeezed and love and compassion comes out, that's what's inside of you. You can't give what you don't have. And you don't squeeze an orange and get apple juice. You don't squeeze, so just being mindful of that. And self-love is Very, very key, which is why I love this book. It talks about, and if you're interested in the concept of vibration, what that actually means, and when you hear people say that, this book is really good for this. So, and it's by Vex King. So thank you, Vex, for writing this book. It's a really good book. In fact, I would probably say if you're starting on your spiritual journey or looking to amplify your spiritual journey, this would be a really good starting book for you to listen to or watch. I think it's on audiobook too. Okay. I am so excited about this book in so many ways, and y'all probably have heard it. I can just imagine Marie in the background, in the backstage, doing a happy dance as I talk about this next book, because this book is fire, y'all. Let me just show you that it's fire, because where is it? Where is this next book? Fire. This next book is fire. Okay. The Alchemist. I've never read a book other than the Motivational Manifesto so many times and have interpreted it in multiple layers of dimension. This book is very, very good. You think that you're listening to a story, and then it turns into something else, and then it's like super deep and relevant for your life. So if I were to say, as of right now, I'd pair these two together. I would take the Motivational Manifesto and the Alchemist and read both of these books. This is a really great story about a young boy named Santiago who goes on this journey, and the things that are in this book, like I'm like, this is a real story. Like, this is actually what's happening. There are alchemists out there. Like, it just has so much depth, and it allows you to go to the place in which imagination and creativity can flow. It is a great book, and Paulo did a really amazing job telling the story of Santiago and the Alchemist. And so I highly recommend, if you've read this book, go ahead and let me know in the comments, because this is a great book to read. And if you haven't read this book, let me know if you do read this book and what you think. I think my tea is, it's nice enough. All right. Okay. So I think I'm going to do these two books in together. One speaks to personal relationships, which are very, very key, and the other speaks to work relationships, which is also key. When my husband and I were going through premarital counseling, we were recommended this book based off of, we did this whole like personality thing, which is highly accurate. And in fact, whenever my husband and I are going through a challenge, I pull this thing out. It's some of the pages are wrinkly, but I pull it out and I just refresh myself on a lot of what his personality is and needs, and then my personality is and needs, and it's still lined up really well. So we got introduced to this book when we were going through our premarital counseling, and it helped and changed. You know, we're going on eight years this year. Yes, I think 8 years. So very helpful. It's the 5 love languages, y'all. I mean, this book is so good. It is. I remember when just listening sometimes to couples, and whenever there's a feud or just a long stemming issue, it's usually because they're not speaking each other's love language. So the concept of love language is, imagine I start speaking to you in Cantonese, and the only language you know is English. And I'm talking just as I am now, and I'm explaining certain things, and you're like, okay, I know that you're talking to me, but I don't understand what you're saying. That is essentially what love languages help show out. It's like, oh, wait, you speak English. Okay, let me change my language and speak the language so we can connect a little bit deeper. So my love language is acts of service. I've spoken about this before. So for example, if my husband, without me asking, takes out the trash, that is an act of love to me that I feel very loved. Or he sees that I've had a long day and he's like, I'm going to take care of the kids. For example, yesterday, I had a longer day than anticipated. My husband was going to go to welding class, and instead he was like, I'm going to stay here and help you with the kids. And that was an act of service. So the 5 love languages. Now, what's really great about how Gary Chapman made this book, and when we think about humanity and humans, is what translates as your love language in intimate relationships also translates into what's called an appreciation language when you get to the workplace. So this is my set. That's what I'm saying. They go in tandem. This, for anyone that is in people ops, that is in any type of people leader role, that cares about humanity in the workplace, you want this book, because most of the time employees will not engage. I'm actually going to just say employees will not engage, which leads to productivity and performance and innovation, if they do not feel appreciated. And the way that you might be thinking about appreciation might be completely opposite way that person or people like to be appreciated. For example, one of the things that we do within Culture Circle is we do a culture assessment. And in that culture assessment, we find out what the company's main appreciation language is. From that, we're able to see and help assess and build out a strategic way for the company to communicate. So, for example, if the company is mainly composed of words of affirmation, how a company communicates with their people is very, very key. We can break it down from a team level as well. So that makes it so, if I'm managing someone and I want to make sure that I show appreciation for the work that they've done and the things that they're doing, I'm speaking the language that most resonates with them. Get this book. If you're in a relationship, if you've been married, get this book. Put them together and you got that whole covered all bases there. All right. This next book, y'all might be like, okay, what is this doing in the high vibe zone? But it honestly is one of my favorite books to read. It's the Bible, y'all. I'm throwing this up here. Book of Life. It's the Bible. Why the Bible is one of my favorite books is, have you read some of these stories? Like, some of these stories are wow, and have taught me so many different things. And the Bible, I've read the Bible multiple different times, but in different lenses of my spirituality. And so as I read it now, I look at all of these lessons. Proverbs is one of my favorite books of the Bible. Matthew is one of my favorite books in the Bible. It's where Jesus starts to speak to the people. And just as you're reading some of this stuff, you're just like, wow, this is the same compassion and love that we need today. And we need amplified even more. And so I just like some of the lessons that are in there. And then some of them aren't very cheerful, and some of them are very grim. But it does showcase areas of life and things that can really help. So I do really enjoy the Bible, reading it. And again, I've been able to take different things in different parts of my journey, spiritual journey, and in a non-religious fashion, which I think is really great. Okay, I have 3 more books for y'all. And these 3 books, I'm going to end with one of my, well, I can't even say if it's my favorite, because all of these are really my favorite. But this book is for those that are burnt out, work a lot, need to recalibrate. And this is a good time to recalibrate, y'all, during the harvest season, during the fall season, as we enter into 2022. You want to get this book because it is really good. It is called How to Not Always Be Working. Little tiny one. And you can see a lot of my books are messy because I read them and take them with me. So, I like a little wear and tear to my books. But this is a great book. It is by Marley Grace. And what captured me when I picked this book out, or when it picked me out, was I was on a solo retreat, went to a bookstore in Oakland. So again, shout out to Oakland. and East Bay Bookstore. And my daughter's name is Marley. And in fact, it's spelled the same way. So that's how we spell Marley's name. And I was like, oh, wow, what a cool name. And then I looked at the book and I was like, how to not always be working. I'm on a solo retreat and I feel like I need to be working. I need this book. And I read the whole book in 2 hours. There's some activities in there. And I sat at this overlook in and I think it was like Oakland, Berkeley, where I could see the entire Bay Area. And I read this book. And let me tell you, this is a great book for anyone that doesn't necessarily have good boundaries at work, that is looking to not make work their life, and are looking to be able to fuse between work and life. 1 second, y'all. My dog is trying to get in the trash. Had to let her know. But How Not to Be Working, y'all, is a great, great book. Okay, this next book, this is for all of the expecting families or those that are planning on expecting. I got to bring in this book. I had a hard time between choosing this one and choosing Eat, Pray, Doula, which I got from Bali, which is also another great book. But this is highly high. For my last birth, I got this book recommended to me, and it is highly, highly changed a lot of my postpartum, which is a big, big deal after you have a baby. So it's called The First 40 Days. And so if you know anyone that is expecting, or if you are expecting, I highly recommend this book. There is a thing called a month sitting. This is usually more in the Chinese culture, but I adopted it really, really well. And actually every culture has, when you go to the roots, its own way of postpartum and just wrapping and surrounding the mama and the baby, or the birther and the baby. So I would highly recommend this book, The First 40 Days, The Essential Art of Nourishing the New Mother. And you could be a new mother of 3, you could be a new mother of 1, you could be, like, it doesn't matter. This book is very, very key. What it has in here is it talks about how important your recovery is after birth, and it gives you the foods and the nutrients that are going to help you with that. One of the things that I notice as a doula that my clients tend to not do is plan for the postpartum. Most people plan for, this is my birth plan and this is how I want to plan the nursery. But most do not plan their postpartum. And that I've always seen to be the most challenging part of birth, because it's still part of the whole birth cycle. So this book, The First 40 Days, helps you plan your postpartum. I'm throwing it in there because I know there's some expecting families might need some assistance there. If you have questions about birth and stuff, like, reach out to me. I don't just do like business. I do birth too. So business and birth. Maybe we'll have a conversation about that. All right. This last book was a changer in the last, 30, 60, I'm just gonna say for the last 90 days of my life. It is something that I've referenced on LinkedIn. It is something that I have worked with on some of my clients. And this is another book that my husband found. In fact, the same bookstore, actually, no, none of these came from the same bookstore, but we went to a bookstore and we were just looking through books, and this one called to my husband. He's like, I don't know why, I'm just going to get this book. And he read it and he was like, I haven't read a book since high school, like this in high school. I don't like reading. I was told I'm not a good reader. But he immersed and downloaded this book. And he was telling me little nuggets around the way. And I think at this time I was actually, oh, okay, yep, now it makes sense. At this time I was reading this book. So I was finishing up this book. He was reading this book. And as soon as he got done, I was like, okay, I need this book. And so he bought me my own copy because his had a bunch of spills and all this stuff on it. Y'all, this book is phenomenal. It will change your life entirely if you're ready for it. It's called the 5 a.m. Club. Own your morning, elevate your life. I don't know how to describe what's in this book, but it's by Robin Sharma. If every human read and digested this, we would be so much further than where we currently are. But where we currently are is exactly where we're supposed to be. So I don't know. Maybe this book will inspire you. Oh, there's a little bookmark, little thing for my daughter. But this book is highly, highly recommended for anyone. So the 5 a.m. Club, if you might have guessed it, is, waking up at 5 a.m. is one of the basic principles to 5 a.m. Club. Own your morning, elevate your life. And I'll kind of end on this is the first things that you consume. So what you watch, the first things that you watch, the first things that you eat, the first things that you say, the first things that you think, all are indicators and the foundation for the vibration of your day. And as you accumulate these things day by day by day, that is the majority of your vibration for your life. So if your vibration tends to be on the lower ends where things are happening to you, this isn't working, that isn't working, look at what the first things that you're doing in the morning. When you first wake up, do you immediately go on your phone and scroll and look at other people's lives? Or do you feel like you need to show up for other people in certain ways? Or do you protect those first few thoughts in the morning because they're so dynamic and precious that they will change your life? So own your morning. So own it. This is my morning. I'm going to do for me. Elevate your life. Your entire life will change. And this book tells you how to do it. In fact, it gives you I know how much people love like steps. Like, what are the steps or how do I do this? It gives you all of that. You can't really see it. It's little writing, but it breaks it all down for you. So if you need steps, however, life is not linear. So I would just be mindful of that. Since the 5 a.m. Club, I wake up mostly at 5 a.m. I wake up around 4:44. But there's some days where I don't. And in those moments, there's grace and compassion. And it matters what I say to myself during those times where I'm like, oh, look what you just did. But this has been a phenomenal book. Since reading this book, I have, and I feel like I'm doing like a testimonial since reading this book. But honestly, since reading this book, I've lost another 26 pounds, or as my good friend Felicia would say, I've released 26 pounds. I'm now actively running consistently. There's just a different vibe in the morning. So if you're looking for something different, and it's not just about those things. There's some other elements there that I don't have time to get into. But if you're looking for something different and better, and your inner being is calling to you and saying, hey, something is out there for me, read this book. I used audio book because I was like, I want to get through this book because it's super good. So I read it in tandem with listening to the audio version of it, which is good. I like the audio dude that does it. Got a key to a good audiobook and a meditation is the voice and the person behind it, which I will also say Alchemist has a great audiobook reader. He's the dude that did Scar in Lion King. So that's it, y'all. Those are the books of life that I have to offer you, and just suggest that you read if you're looking to change areas of your life, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's in your leadership, whether it's how you show up at work, or whether it's how you show up in life and the impacts that you want to make in this world. These are the books. I'm curious to see if there's any books that you've read that have really been like books of life to you, that have given you life, that have given you water, that have change the way that you've done certain things, I'd love for you to drop them in the comments, whether it's live or recorded, so other people can take a look at it. Because the more that we share the things that have done great for us, the more we can help make others great. That Ubuntu, that concept of I am because we are, is so key. So as you're going through your day to day, or if you're looking for a new book, I don't know how many I've suggested, but I've suggested a few. Check them out. See how they vibe with you. Let's see. How do I want to end this? I have two quotes that I'd like to close out with. So, a mind that is stretched by new experiences can never go back to the old dimension. And that is, books bring the experiences to us in different ways. And then the last one, as you just go about your day, wisdom is avoiding all the thoughts that weaken you. And again, going back to the 5 a.m. club and just how you set the tone for your day. Again, the things that you consume in the beginning, whether it's what you see, listen, say, watch. If you're watching the news first thing in the morning, your vibration is most likely going to be compromised. Whereas if you listen to something that is more positive or uplifting and not negating the fact that there are things going on in this world, but the light always outshines the darkness in so many ways. So just paying attention to what you're consuming, and books are a great way to consume knowledge, and then utilize that knowledge based off of your own life and personal experience. So I'm going to just say if I'm looking at this stack of books, the books that I would highly recommend are 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma, The Alchemist, and the Motivational Manifesto. Start with that trinity, that trifecta. Start with those three. And let's see what happens. So I just hope that this has been life-giving in some ways. I look forward to hearing from you. A lot of you private message me, which is great. I love hearing from you. Even if you don't do it in the comments, that is not that is not where the good stuff is always. I really do appreciate the one-on-one conversation. And if you want any specifics or any deeper dive into some of the books that I've shared today, let me know. Happy to talk to you about it. So with that, I'm going to send you off with a blessing of light, love, and gratitude. May your day be abundant and prosperous. May you have everything that you need throughout this day. May you live long and prosper. I don't think y'all know I'm a Star Trek fan. Huge Star Trek fan. So always got to throw up that live long and prosper. So thank you so much for being here with me in the High Vibe Zone. I am your Sharice. I am your host, Sharice Fonts. I am your Sharice. I don't know how many Sharices you have, but I am your host, Sharice Fonts. Have a beautiful rest of your day. You are a spiritual being in physical form, a dichotomy of light and dark, where energy equals mass on a journey designed to fulfill our personal legend and purpose, to use humanity throughout to amplify and transcend, slay the ego, raise the humanity. That's the signpost up ahead. Your next stop, the High Vibe Zone.